news on Tuesday. Rutgers President Jonathan Holloway officially announcing he will not return following the expiration of his contract in June of 2025, something we discussed last week when discussing the search for the next Rutgers athletic director. Was reported previously by David Wildstein of New Jersey Globe, and Holloway now coming out and making it official, citing some pretty upsetting reasons for wanting to leave, most specifically in terms of needing police protection, threats and protection for his family. And, I have to say, it's social media and all that, but some of the responses to my tweet where I say, worrying about your family's safety and needing constant police protection isn't a reasonable part of the job. Hope the Holloways find the peace and quiet they deserve soon. Whether you agree with the job that Holloway did, I think he did a fairly good job. I know there's a lot of politics involved in terms of certain policies he had. This is not a politics podcast. This is not a science podcast. This is a Rutgers sports podcast, but I do see the human side of things, and some of the responses I'm getting are frankly a little upsetting and disturbing, that people just kind of dismiss that part of it. So wishing Jonathan Holloway well, as he has now decided to not continue as president at Rutgers. Still a full school year ahead with him in that role. And now it begs the question, how does this impact the athletic director search? Obviously, the Board of Governors in control here. Amy Towers talked about her and her exemplary credentials last week. I think there should be confidence that this moment in time for Rutgers is in the hands of the BOG and Amy Towers. Obviously, Governor Murphy is a piece in all this, and he is set to end his second term as governor in the end of 2025. So there's a lot of dynamics here. Rutgers also set to lose their general counsel, John J. Hoffman, who was nominated by Governor Murphy for New Jersey State Supreme Court. He is set to be confirmed very soon. So that's three pivotal positions at Rutgers. Obviously, AD is what we focus on here at this podcast, but you can't look at it in a vacuum. It's all going to be part of a change in leadership in multiple avenues at Rutgers. So it's a compelling time. It's an interesting time. In terms of Holloway, he was a great advocate for Rutgers sports. Stanford football player himself, came from a university like Northwestern where they balanced academics and athletics. So it's going to be a challenge for the new president. And in terms of the dynamics of that athletic director search now, which I did go into detail in my last episode covering it last week, it's going to be fascinating to see how they proceed. They've hired a search firm, Rutgers, in terms of the next AD, discuss some internal possibilities, but the timeline now, because what AD, worth its grain of salt, is going to want to come to Rutgers without a president, with a lame duck president. Does Rutgers intentionally just wait to hire the president before they really engage in an AD search? Remains to be seen. But there is certainly a lot involved. It's Rutgers. It's complicated. And the good news, I think, for Ryan Passari, interim AD, is he's going to have this year to really, direct the department, but also kind of audition for the role. Whether he ultimately gets it or not, I've cited how I think he should be a key piece moving forward. He's survived 3 different ADs over a decade now, and is extremely well-liked and has, what I like about his approach so far is he's not acting like an interim. He's acting like, I'm the guy, it's my job, and I'm going to make progress and make a difference at Rutgers. So we've seen it already with NIL in terms of him being very supportive and vocal about it. And there's a lot of opportunity here. So it's going to be a fascinating year for many reasons, obviously on the field, on the court as well, football, basketball, many other sports. So this is a chapter that we thought was coming. Obviously, you still have the investigation with, in regard to Pat Hobbs and also the gymnastics program. Never dull here following Rutgers in any capacity. So moving on, did want to cover a bunch of different sports here in terms of Rutgers and what's going on. Let's talk about men's basketball. The schedule will be out later this week, so that news will be coming soon. I'll have a full episode breaking that down. But at the end of last week, they did announce a intrasquad scrimmage. They're calling it the Knighthood Showcase on Saturday, September 28th. Intrasquad scrimmage at the rack. Gates open at 1. Event starts at 2. It is free for all Rutgers fans. You don't need a ticket. You just show up, walk into the rack, Jersey Mike's Arena, and there'll be a inter-squad scrimmage with the highly anticipated 2024-2025 Rutgers men's basketball program. There'll be scrimmages, giveaways, a performance from Red Panda, a legend in her own time, and fans we'll hear from head coach Steve Peichel, who's going to speak. Then Knights of the Raritan will host an autograph on-court event. There is a membership. If you're a member of Knights of the Raritan, it's $15. And then also it is $45 for non-members. So you get to meet the team. You get a Knighthood Showcase poster, autographs. All in all, really cool event. An event that I'm told couldn't have happened without NIL. Just in terms of that inter-squad scrimmage is going to be really a great opportunity for fans to see this team for the first time. So hope you take advantage of it. I'll be talking about this closer next weekend, but it's a really prove-it moment for Rutgers fans next weekend. You have Washington at home, blackout game Friday night, and then this inter-squad scrimmage for hoops on Saturday, which is free. So I really hope they get great turnouts for both. If they can win at Virginia Tech, why shouldn't it be a sellout? And really, even if they don't win at Virginia Tech, meaning football, still should be a tremendous turnout for that Friday night Washington game. And then a chance to see this Rutgers basketball team, Dylan Harper, Ace Bailey, want to see thousands of fans turn out for that. It is a Saturday afternoon in the fall, but great opportunity there. Let's talk about the current fall teams. A nomination for one of the best comeback stories of the year already. Gia German, she had gotten to a fight in the UMass game, was suspended 3 games by the program, and Rutgers went on a bit of winning streak since that suspension. That loss at Amherst really lit a fire under this team. They started the season with a win over NJIT. They tied Wake Forest. They lost at UMass. And then after that, they beat Lehigh 3-0, Maine 3-0. NC State, a good NC State team that's made the NCAA tournament kind of a regular over the last decade. They beat them at home 2-0, and then went on the road to Madison in Gia German's return, and she scored the game-winning goal in the 79th minute. It was it's awesome. That's the kind of stuff as a sports fan that you root for. And Rutgers women's soccer has been the standard among Rutgers athletics over the years. So to see them bounce back as a program, to see her bounce back on the field, you have to again, the culture of that program under head coach Mike O'Neill, really strong. They host Oregon for the first time as a Big Ten member on Thursday, September 19th at Iroquois Field. They have a real chance here. They were picked 7th in the Big Ten and they have a real chance here to make some noise. And right now their RPI is 21 nationally, so they're on pace to make the NCAA tournament. They just got to keep going, stick together. They face a lot of adversity early on, and they're obviously responding in a positive way. Love to see it. Men's soccer, now 3-4 on the season. They play at Yale on Tuesday night. After a 3-1 win over Northeastern, they lost to Delaware. Then they had a big rivalry win against Princeton. They beat Lehigh, but they're on a 3-game losing streak, all against pretty good teams. They lost at Providence 1-0. They lost to number 22 Seton Hall. I think they're ranked actually 13th now. In Piscataway last Monday, 3-1. And then they lost to Indiana, perennial power in the sport, at home 1-0 on Friday the 13th. So they have Yale on the road Tuesday night, and then they're back at it in Columbus, Ohio, against Ohio State on Sunday, September 22nd. Pivotal year for Jim McElderry and this team. Hopefully they can turn it around and get into NCAA tournament contention. Rutgers field hockey lost 2-1 to UConn on Sunday, September 8th, and then last Wednesday, number 13 St. Joe's lost 1-0, a heartbreaker. And then they bounced back, beat Miami of Ohio over the weekend. They're now 3-2, and they go to number 7 Maryland this Friday. Meredith Civico won a national title with the Terps. Still the legendary coach there. So big matchup for them. And then they host number 18 Princeton on Sunday. Rutgers they were number 9 in the country. Now they're number 13. So huge weekend coming up for this program with expectations to go back to the NCAA tournament, compete for Big Ten titles. So wishing them well this weekend. And then volleyball was able to secure, they're 4-5 now in non-conference play. They lost to Miami. They had a 3-set victory, straight sets over North Texas, lost to Colorado, lost to number 21 Arkansas, lost to Little Rock in 5 sets, beat Louisiana Tech in straight sets, beat LIU in straight sets, lost to Binghamton in straight sets, and now beat VCU on Saturday in straight sets. So just 4-5. They play Old Dominion this coming Thursday in Norfolk, Virginia. They also play Maryland Eastern Shore before opening Big Ten play at Jersey Mike's Arena on Thursday, September 26th. The Big Ten's a gauntlet, and it is a big season for Caitlin Schweihofer as coach and for this program to take a step forward. And have been, mixed results in non-conference play. So more to come on volleyball. And then let's just talk about football. Rutgers now a 3.5-point underdog at Virginia Tech on Saturday, 3:30 Eastern Time, ACC Network. It's the Whiteout in Blacksburg. And what's interesting in this game is Virginia Tech did put out a depth chart on Tuesday. Rutgers does not put out depth charts, so we don't know what the availability will be of certain players. Schiano talking on Monday in his press conference about getting some players healthy, getting some rest for some, but not fully back. So we don't know what that means. We don't know if Tyrone Powell is going to play. We don't know if Wesley Bailey's going to play. Flip Dixon made his way back the last game. We don't know if Troy Rainey's going to play. Sam Brown. A lot of question marks. But what seems pretty much clear in this matchup as a whole is that Virginia Tech, I think you could argue, has an advantage at the skill positions. Not that Tootin is better than Monungai, but their receiving core, Kyron Drones, Virginia Tech has explosive playmakers. But as a whole, Rutgers is a Big Ten team that acts like it. And I think can be the more physical team, can exert their toughness. Obviously with the ground game with Monungai, the offensive line. But the defense, huge question marks if Powell doesn't go. The linebacking core, I talked about that in my last episode a little bit. But this is another chance for Rutgers to establish their identity as a tough, hard-nosed, mistake-free program. And they've had a lot of success against former Big East foes that are now in the ACC. And you know that Virginia Tech has had this game circled on the calendars for a long time. And that makes it even more intriguing for this team to go in there in a hornet's nest and face the belly of the beast and come out winners. And I'll have more on Ethan Kaliakmanis later this week. But let's not forget, he led Minnesota to some impressive road wins in his tenure there at Nebraska, at Iowa, at Wisconsin. So this is not going to be his first rodeo. And I think that is obviously going to be really big in this game for Rutgers. His play is going to be obviously instrumental in how they perform ultimately. But with Washington stumbling at home to Washington State, Wisconsin now, Tyler Van Dyke out for the year. Virginia Tech has not looked great. There's a real opportunity here for Rutgers to get off to that special start that we all thought it was possible. It's for the taking. You got to get to September 4-0. And it all starts this Saturday in Virginia Tech. I'm going to have a football-related podcast on Wednesday. Lined up a big interview. And then David Anderson will be back with us to preview as well, and some more stuff coming up this week. Stay tuned here at the Scarlet Faithful Podcast. Thank you so much for listening once again.